So first of all, thank you very much, all. Thanks for the Lasso CBT initiative for having me, also for the invitation, Kazim. It is a great pleasure to be online on your event and from Berlin. And yeah, so let's get started. So this is my talk today. So my name is Zaid Zaim. I am Microsoft MVP for Windows development, specialized in mixed reality and HoloLens. And I would go with you today on how we can get started on building applications for mixed reality and the HoloLens using MRTK. Before starting with this, I would like to go with you on a small journey, sharing with you somehow my background and motivation for mixed reality and how I got into this field. I am in the mixed reality field since around 4 years, and I would like to take with me on this journey. And then we will have a game changer. We will go and see what is mixed reality in general and what is the HoloLens 2 device. I hope I have also the HoloLens here on board with me. I don't know if you can see it because of the screen, because of the background. And then we will go through a small tutorial on how we can build the application using Unity 3D and the Mixed Reality Toolkit for HoloLens. And finally, we will see a demo of the application that we have built. So I already also pre-built somehow a little bit the project because this is not achievable in in a mini session like today. Exactly. So I am originally from Syria. I came to Germany around 8.5 years because of the war in my country, together with my family, my mom, brother, and sister. When I was a child in Syria, I was always interested about technology and computers. I had a great interest and passion for technology and computers and video games. Very big titles you probably know, like GTA, Counter-Strike, Half-Life, and these all nice computer games. I really loved these, and these gave me somehow the interest later on to see what is behind of these things. So later on, I never imagined that one day I will have the chance to come to Germany and get deeply involved with modern technology like today, mixed reality and HoloLens. And in 2017, I joined Ready School of Digital Integration. This is a tech school in Berlin that supports newcomers and refugees get quality skills in tech in order to support them to get integrated into the IT job market, to give them also a perspective and chances to join the tech world. Today, Ready School expanded to different regions like Munich, Copenhagen, North Rhine-Westphalia, an industrial city in Germany, and hopefully expanding more and more. So Ready School always looking for volunteers from the tech industry that could take our students on a journey. So I joined Ready School as a student in 2017, learning fundamentals in programming in Python. For me, a game changer at Ready School was, for example, going to hackathons together with many mentors, for example, from Microsoft. These are two nice experiences I would like to share with you. So in 2018 and 2020, we went to different hackathons, the IoT hackathon in Berlin. This was for me the very first time going to a tech hackathon, working with experts. And this was for me the first time getting involved with mixed reality and HoloLens technology. And yeah, and firstly, to be able to develop an application for such a device. Exactly. And from there, I were very interested in seeing how I can improve myself, how can I deeply go more and more into this field, and started later on giving mixed reality workshops, similar to what we are going to do later, basically teaching everyone, a tech interested person, on how he can develop his augmented reality game. So I've been exactly mentioning for several times what is mixed reality, mixed reality, mixed reality, and HoloLens. So let's get into this. So you can imagine mixed reality is you go, let's say in the next couple of years on the street, you have a goggle, and then you can always see the real world enhanced with digital content. So similar to one of the cool things, Pokemon Go, you went to the streets, of course, and started hunting for mini Pokemons. So let's get to know now what is mixed reality as a term. So in order to define what is mixed reality, we need to say what is reality in general. So reality means everything what we can perceive from our environment with our human senses. In virtual reality, the user gets deeply involved and his consciousness gets concentrated on the virtual world, where his awareness and perceiving of the real environment gets isolated. In augmented reality, as mentioned before, the example with Pokemon Go, we enhance the real world with digital content. The digital content is only overlaid over the real world, so it is not really interacting with the physical world. And exactly, so and mixed reality is now a fusion between AR and VR. AR, we are getting digital content into the real world, and VR, the user is going on a journey into the virtual world. So the HoloLens unifies these two universes. We have the HoloLens 2 device. The user can wear it as a comfortable headset. You see, normal, put on the head. And then we have a wider field of view, which means allows the user, for example, to see more digital content in the real world, um, regarding, for example, other headsets. The HoloLens 2 enables us also with hand tracking technology. So this means the user is able to perceive on his hands the device, recognize the hands, and is able to then interact with the object as if these are real-time physical objects. So this is one of the key features in addition to the field of view and the hand tracking. Also, in order to experience mixed reality, the HoloLens creates in the background a 3D construction of the real world. So this allows the user then to, sorry?
Yes, they work, but actually, we're not right now.
This, allow, this allows the user then to grab 3D objects, for example, and place these directly on the physical world. So the HoloLens, as mentioned, creates this 3D mesh of the environment in the background, and then you, as a user, can grab this object and put it on the ground. So we are really integrating the digital content into the physical world, or we are blending the digital content, digital objects into the physical world as if they are part of our real life environment. Exactly. So, and now the question is also in which fields is mixed reality and HoloLens applied in. So currently the HoloLens 2 device is an enterprise device, more or less currently applied in industrial solutions in terms of, for example, training and development, In this way, training and development, field and service. In this case, for example, we have a factory in place A. The intern that is in there wears a HoloLens and connects, for example, with a technical expert that is, for example, in other country. For example, the one intern is in China, the other one is, let's say, in the US, and then the intern could, for example, get direct instructions from the expert on how he could, for example, fix a technical problem. So that the expert could give him, for example, insights which tools he should advise and what should he interact with in order, for example, to solve these problems. And this is made, for example, much easier when we get these visualizations as in 3D. Another use case, for example, where the HoloLens is applied in is in healthcare, which means, for example, doctors, when they are perceiving the patient, so they can, for example, get a 3D visualization of a CT scan of this person and can see more detailed on how they can, to see on how they could proceed with the treatment, for example. Another field, for example, design, prototyping, and education. For example, this is one of the nice solutions in Berlin. There's the company Island Labs that work closely with a kitchen company where users, for example, can go to the order, for example, a service, a HoloLens, and then they want to plan, for example, their new apartment or new kitchen, and then the expert gets home with the HoloLens. The customer wears the HoloLens, and then he can exactly start prototyping, interacting with his dream kitchen, putting it in his new home, similar to Sims, for example. Exactly, and there's then education and productivity and collaboration. So this is then connected with training and development and education. So when we do school content, for example, let's say in a chemistry lesson, we always lose somehow the imagination of how specific materials or specific chemical materials we get in the chemistry lesson, for example. When in this way, when using, for example, augmented reality, for example, in HoloLens, we can get a 3D visualization, which allows the students to have a better understanding of the matter that they are learning at school. Exactly. So this was now somehow an overview on how we and where we can use mixed reality in. And a small spoiler, so I'm also leading in Berlin a project for cultural heritage preservation supported by Microsoft with HoloLens 2. So I will be dropping later a link so you can also check this out, and this would come under the point of education. Now let's go to Unity 3D and the mixed reality toolkit. So what is actually Unity 3D? Unity 3D is a gaming engine that allows its users to develop applications for computer games, VR games, augmented reality games, and it is very easy to use. And the mixed reality toolkit is an open source project that Microsoft provides, enables users, designers, and developers to easily jump into the mixed reality field. They provide predefined scripts, predefined UX UI, for example, for integrating these elements, for example, directly in a mixed reality experience. Exactly. So let's jump in now on how we can develop our first augmented reality game with a HoloLens. Just Kazim, maybe a small feedback. How time do I have? I did not measure the time. Sorry for this.
Okay, you're having 15 more minutes.
Okay, nice. Exactly. So as mentioned before, I created the project in Unity. So okay, let me show. So here is the Unity software. We open this normally, and then we create a specific project. The question, why is it now not opening anymore? Okay. Yeah, exactly. So normally here's the Unity software. So we go to new, and we select a template. So you can in Unity create 2D games, 3D games, and high definition games. So games that require, for example, very high graphics. So for the HoloLens 2, we choose the 3D template. So I already created the project, and we can jump in here. So the first step, we get into here. So actually this overview. So we see here the hierarchy, the inspector on the right, and in the middle, our scene view and the game view. So how our game looks like. Here, for example, we have a camera which represent the user's orientation in the virtual world or in the game. This is also referred to as the mixed reality play space. So the first thing I have done into this project, so there is another tool from Microsoft called the mixed reality feature tool. This basically adds specific packages after, for example, referring to our project in here. Exactly. So I am providing here, for example, the path of my project. Exactly. And then after providing the path, then you can, for example, see what mixed reality services you would like to add. So in this case, we want to add the mixed reality toolkit packages. In this case, the example, the extension, and the foundation. The example package provide us, as mentioned, some examples of predefined assets. So like buttons, UI elements, and also scripts that allow us to interact with these elements. The foundation package provide us with a mixed reality toolkit as itself. So this allows us then to instantiate how the user then is going to handle the virtual world, for example. So I already imported these. So for getting the packages then into Unity, then we go to mixed reality toolkit and add to scene and configure. So here they are. So here's the mixed reality toolkit as itself. You have here, well, the different profiles that at the end of the day enable then the different systems the HoloLens provides. For example, in this case, the camera, which is where the user is, the input system that allows the user then to interact, for example, with a virtual environment, with the virtual objects. So you basically choose this default profile and clone it, and then you are actually good to go. So we need to enable another setting in Unity, which allows then the HoloLens, or let's say we need to enable the Windows mixed reality support or virtual reality support. This is currently called like this, but it basically enables the stereoscopic view of the HoloLens. So the HoloLens has two displays here in the inside, on the right and on the left. Basically, two small monitors, which allow us then to see through the headset and then have a look on the 3D content. Yeah. The HoloLens also has these then the depth cameras and the different sensors that could then recognize our hand tracking technology, and this is enabled, as mentioned before, through the enabling the input system in the mixed reality toolkit. So now I also added some 3D objects that we would like to interact with. So I thought about, let's experiment a little bit with physics in Unity, and by, for example, creating here a ball pool. Where is it? Here we go. We have here a pool that would contain later some balls. So we can open, for example, this ball pool and see how this is, from what is made it, from what it is made of. So we can see here only cubes that are aligned together. So the simplest way, I don't want to work with very complex 3D objects because this brings the users away from the topic. We have here also a game object, an empty game object created like this. So an empty game object could contain some, for example, specific scripts that we want to manage, for example, specific handlings that we want to have in our application. So here I created in a C# script that spawns, for example, different balls to us. So this is actually our ball. And then we can have a short look on how the script looks like. So we have here basically an array of game objects. So our game object is basically the ball. We have the transform where the spawn position should be. So transform, or the spawn position is exactly the point where we want to spawn the balls later. And here the max separation time and min separation time tell us how many seconds, or after how many seconds we should always produce these balls or instantiate them. So here we have an infinite while loop that contains a specific commands that creates to us the different balls. So we have here, we go between two random elements and go through the array that we had. We see how long this is, and then based on this, we start creating, for example, the different balls. Here we wait then for this specific time that we defined above, and here we instantiate. So we create then, in this case, the balls on this specific point that we predefined in the spawn position. So also the criterion that identity defines in which angle we want to have these objects spawned in there. And then we call our function then here in the start method. So the start method is basically contains the things that we want to have on runtime. So as soon as we press start of the game, then we start this specific script, for example. So this is somehow the script as itself. And here we have then again the object spawner. We define then here the seconds that we want, and then the position. So also here objects to add contains our array contains the sphere that we already created in here. Exactly. So basically, creating a sphere is easy. So here you go on a right click and sphere. And you see here the different scripts attached to this object. Here is a sphere collider that doesn't make the object, for example, go through other objects. So it is handled somehow like a real object. So we already created this down in here. So we can see our version in here contains the rigid body, an active rigid body basically contains physical when adding a rigid body to an object, this object could behave like to this according to as if we are, for example, in a specific physical environment. We have, for example, a gravity field and a mass, and then in this case, for example, the sphere could fall down on the ground. Exactly, and so we grabbed also some scripts from the mixed reality toolkit, which would allow us then to interact with this ball. So we have the object manipulator. This allows us to interact with the ball as it is. So to start.